of the Union address, plus the Republican response, starts tonight at 7 on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Live on a beautiful Sunday, sunny March morning, Thursday, not Sunday. Someone's already looking forward to the weekend, and that someone is, of course, me. First, we've got to get through Biden's State of the Union address, and a lot of people don't want to watch. They don't want to watch. I am watching for one moment, because you know it's going to happen. There is going to be one moment during the speech tonight that the drugs wear off. It's gonna be noticeable. He's going to just stop. He's going to stare for a second. He's going to take a while. It's probably going to happen when Democrats are applauding, because we now have this one weird thing in State of the Union addresses where only one side of the aisle ever claps. The other side, depending on whose political party controls the presidency, will just sort of sit there stone-faced. I'm reminded 4 years ago of President Trump's final State of the Union address in his first term, where all of the women were wearing white. You might remember that Nancy Pelosi tore up the speech. I wonder if Mike Johnson is to tear up Biden's speech tonight. Is he going to get the same sort of treatment that Pelosi did? Well, the speech was filled with lies. Of course he was justified in tearing it up. Or will it be, as it was when Pelosi did it, one of the most classless things someone could possibly do? AdventNews.com talk and text line always open. 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Watch the show streaming live there, also on YouTube, youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Be sure to like the show, subscribe to the show, leave your comments. We post the best of them on the screen, always a lively discussion on Facebook, on YouTube, and I believe you can now comment on X. That feature has sort of been a little buggy over the last couple of weeks, but we do believe we've got it figured out. We will have Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson on the show later on this hour to preview President Biden's State of the Union address. Also, one of the gravest injustices I have seen in recent Wisconsin history is going to happen a week from Monday in a courtroom in Dane County. We will get to that story coming up on the Dan O'Donnell Show. But first, I got an email literally just about 20 minutes ago from an MPS teacher that bears repeating. We talk often on this program about the culture of no consequences in MPS, in Milwaukee, across the country. Here's someone who sees it firsthand. He opens by saying, Dan, I could list off an entire scroll of things, liberal policies that have failed MPS. I could talk about the corruption that I see, money that is going to facilities and going to administrators instead of going to classrooms. But he writes, the problem is far more basic than that. The problem is that MPS just does not care. Students are allowed to mosey into school late with no consequences. Students are allowed, in my school at least, to wander the halls barely challenged by school safety or administration, and on the occasions that they are challenged, they simply brush them off or make some half-hearted excuse. Actually, it isn't so much that they do not care, it's that they're afraid. They're afraid of the parents running to the media with their complaints about the district. The parents are afraid of the kids because they do not know how to be parents. And the kids, well, they have all the power and they know it, but they just do not care. Spider-Man taught us that with great power comes great responsibility, but this current generation seems to have not gotten that lesson. The parents, district, and school board should have the power, but they would rather have happy, complacent kids than actually do the hard work of raising and educating them. That's from an MPS teacher. Now, What do you think happens when kids who are allowed to do pretty much anything without any consequences leave the school system, whether or not they've actually earned a diploma? They might have walked across the stage and been handed one, but do they have the education? Do they have the life skills to either go on to college or a 2-year program or get a job, join the military, something like that, be adults, be a functional member of society? When they don't have consequences ingrained in them. And we did a huge segment. I turned it into a MacIver Institute column yesterday on the importance of fatherhood and all of the statistics that show if you have a father in the house, how much better your life trajectory is going to be. The single biggest advantage that you can have in life is a 2-parent family. And if you have a divorced family, and I got emails from, divorced dads who said, Dan, my wife and I couldn't make it work. We co-parent. I'm still a part of my family's life. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When I say in the home, I don't necessarily mean in the home physically. So long as there is a strong fatherhood presence, a strong male role model in a son's life, especially a son, daughter's life as well. Very, very important with sons, because having a functional adult male to model your life after, and that's what children do. They model. Children mirror. It's how we learn to socialize. Our earliest personality traits some of them are ingrained in us, and personality and all that. It's still up for research and debate amongst researchers about how we get our personality. But what we do know is, especially kids as they're trying to mature, as they're trying to become adults, well, they don't exactly know how to behave. So what they do is they model the people who they see as being the most like the person they want to be. And when there's a father, it's almost always the father. You sort of pick up on cues, you take on the personality of your father. Moreover, the father is often the one who institutes discipline. And what we're hearing from this MPS student is the same refrain that I get from so many people, so many mothers who say, look, the kid turns 15, 16, I can't control him. But there's far too often parents or people who are for 18 years responsible for a child's behavior, responsible for a child's upbringing, who shield them from consequences and pretend that somehow it's society's fault or systemic racism's fault when they commit criminal acts, deviant acts, and sometimes even abhorrent acts. Take, for example, Imonte Morgan. Imonte Morgan, his mother, spoke out after he was criminally convicted in a courtroom in Chicago this week and said, well, Imonte couldn't have done the things that they accused him of doing because this was a conspiracy. The cops were out to frame Imonte.
This is a cover-up, point blank, period. And I do believe that my son will receive justice. I will not stop. I will continue to fight for my son's justice. I will continue to advocate for people who have been victims of this corrupt judicial system. I will continue to advocate for those of lower socioeconomic statuses. We did not receive justice today. You guys, they serve somebody guilty that's actually innocent. And I am hurting right now, but I believe and I have full faith that my son will receive justice.
Imonte didn't receive justice. What was he convicted of? Murdering one Chicago police officer by the name of Ella French and shooting another in the spine. He's permanently paralyzed, Carlos Yares. Imonte Morgan, in August of 2021, was pulled over by officers French and Yares in Englewood, in Illinois. They stopped Morgan and his brother Eric on August 7th for having expired plates near the intersection of 63rd and Bell Avenue. The brothers got out of the car when they were told to, but Imonte refused repeated orders to put down a drink and a cell phone he was holding. He then got into a struggle with police. Eric ran off as Amante was struggling. At one point, Amante pulled out a gun and started shooting, striking both French and Yanez. Both officers transported to the hospital. Officer French died from her injuries. Officer Yanez was left paralyzed. This was a cover-up. It was on video. There was no doubt. The jury deliberated roughly 3 hours before convicting Amante Morgan. But Amante Morgan, you see, very clearly came from a home where nothing was ever his fault. Amante Morgan, you see, was the victim of the evil police. He was the victim of a cover-up, according to his mother. Now, this would be bad enough, but as Amante became an adult and started committing crimes, remember, at home, he grows up, he and his brother, with no consequences. Nothing is their fault. He begins committing crimes as a juvenile. And then in 2018, Amante commits an armed robbery. He's charged with armed robbery and theft of movable property in Dane County. He held up 4 people with a handgun. Both crimes, felonies. Armed robbery, maximum sentence 40 years in prison. Theft, maximum sentence of 10. He pleaded guilty. He faced dozens of years behind bars. Dane County Judge Ellen Burrs sentenced him to just 3 years probation. 3 years probation. Had she sentenced him to just a tiny percentage of the prison time he was eligible for, he wouldn't have been out on the street in Chicago the night that Ella French was killed and Carlos Yares was paralyzed. But that wasn't all. In 2019, Amante was charged with felony theft and misdemeanor battery. He arranged to purchase an iPhone, but instead ran off with it. The victim chased and confronted him. Amante punched him repeatedly until several bystanders were able to subdue him. In exchange for that guilty plea, prosecutors dropped the felony theft charge against Morgan. He was sentenced to 2 years probation. So the prior year, he is convicted. He's put on probation. He violates that probation. And he's back out on the streets. In May of 2021, prosecutors in Dane County moved to revoke that probation because of some unspecified violation. But Amante Morgan, in August of 2021, just 3 months later, was still out on the streets, still able to kill Ella French and paralyze Carlos Yares. He should have been in prison for 2 separate felony thefts, but he wasn't. Not only did you have his mother, which you can, obviously her coming out and saying when the murder is on video, oh, this was a conspiracy, this was terrible, this is abhorrent. The woman is clearly nuts. But you understand, anyone who has children, you understand that paternal, maternal instinct to protect your child, to say, okay, my kid's not a bad kid, even despite all evidence to the contrary, right? Well, there's about as much evidence that you could find that Amante Morgan is and has always been a bad kid and a bad human being. So too is his brother. But it's not enough for his mother to just excuse him from any real consequence of his deviant behavior. It's quite another for the justice system to do so multiple times. You want to know who really deserves justice in this case? Who didn't get it even after Amante Morgan was convicted this week? Do you know who's never going to get justice, who couldn't possibly get justice? Ella French. Ella French is dead. She has been dead for nearly 3 years. because of a guy who was told, no, Imante, there are no consequences for you, no real consequences anyway. Well, you're a victim of circumstance. You're a victim of society. You're a victim of racism. You're a victim of this. So it's no real surprise that you would go out there and stick up people with a handgun, beat the hell out of somebody who you were allegedly trying to buy an iPhone from, but actually stole that. No consequences, ever. And what happens? Ella French suffers the consequences of that. This more than anything, and this is something this email from a teacher is saying, as early as the first grade, kindergarten, there is a culture that says, no, there are no consequences. You want to loiter in the halls? Go right ahead. I'm thinking of producer Dave. Your kids, my kids, the schools they go to. It's funny. It's sort of ironic. I found we're, kind of cleaning out our house a little spring cleaning. I found a hall pass from, I think it was my older son's school. It says the high school, but it's a middle and high school combined. Your kid's allowed to just sort of mosey on into class late? Not without consequences. Mine aren't either. You don't have a hall pass, guess where you're going? Right to the principal's office to explain yourself. You don't have a good enough explanation, you're going to detention. They find you doing something really bad, you're being suspended. In fact, my kid's school has a 3 strikes policy. You do suspension-worthy stuff 3 times, you're on your 2nd strike. It doesn't matter what the 3rd violation is. You're out. You're expelled. No questions. Think Imante Morgan ever faced that sort of stiff consequence? Do you think he ever had it in his head that something bad could happen to him if he continued to violate society's norms, or even openly flaunting, really, the law? This is why I focused so much yesterday and continue to focus and always sort of focus on the absence of fathers. It's not even necessarily a father per se, although a father is insanely important. If you have, and you can't, single moms, please don't get the idea that you're doing something terribly wrong. I understand you can't make it work sometimes. Divorce happens, all right? My parents are divorced. Producer Dave, your parents are together. 54 years, you're kidding me. Congratulations to them. Uh-oh, you don't know. He doesn't know. You're a terrible son. 56 years they have been married. Okay, there's my wife's parents. We just celebrated on Sunday their 49th wedding anniversary. It happens, okay? Divorce happens. What I'm saying is, for single moms, if, let's say, Imante Morgan's mother, who I'm just going to assume was a single mother. Call it a hunch. If she says instead of, no, Imante, he couldn't have done this. It was a conspiracy. It was a cover-up that he shot a woman, a police officer, no less, in cold blood and paralyzed a man. No, it's cover-up. Cover-up. Oh, okay. If instead, from the time Imante was 5 years old and getting into fights in kindergarten, she had laid the smackdown on him. Not physically, although might not have been a bad idea, but said in no uncertain terms that behavior isn't acceptable. If Imante's school had said, instead of fearing, and we all know this MPS teacher, we all know what MPS is scared. We all know what school districts and teachers, and we all know what they're scared of. They're scared of being labeled a racist. Because if the student that they discipline happens to be black or Latino or a person of color, they'll face stiff consequences. This is actually from 2014 on. We are on the 2nd decade now of schools suffering the consequence of Obama administration policy that was set out in a now infamous Dear Colleague letter to schools that said, look, if you have got a school policy that is racially neutral on its face, let's take, for example, my kid's school district policy, 3 strikes, you're out. If that results in more students of color or a higher percentage of students of color being expelled from school or being suspended, even if that policy has nothing to do with race whatsoever, you punch a teacher in the face, you're suspended. End of story. If more, say, black students are suspended for punching teachers, we will assume as a left-wing Justice Department and left-wing Department of Education that your policy is racist because of what's known as a disparate impact on minority communities. The wide-ranging consequences of this is this belief in the disparate impact theory has had more devastating consequences on school policy, on criminal justice policy, than perhaps anything else, that anything else has ever been created. Because now you've got, just like this MPS teacher was talking about, people in power, school administrators, judges, prosecutors, police officers even, who are terrified of being labeled as the single worst thing you can be labeled in society today, and it's not even close, a racist. If they just do their jobs, if they just enforce discipline. Imonte Morgan's life and Ella French's death are a perfect example of what happens when that policy is taken to the extreme. When someone like Imonte Morgan never faces a consequence until someone else, an innocent victim, faces the consequence for him. Dan O'Donnell Show coming back. Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
Home practice is about to begin. Your daughter's new tap shoes? Loud. Your son's new tuba? Louder. But you got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with $50 overdraft Greystone. So if you lose track of expenses buying some noise-canceling and sanity-saving headphones, we've got your back. You got this with $50 overdraft Greystone from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Federal authorities are spying on conservatives. They were just exposed for pressuring banks to look for transactions with keywords like MAGA, Trump, and Bible. This is not the America I know. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I am deeply concerned about the tyranny I see in Washington. And this is why I'm thankful for physical gold IRAs, because they offer tangible financial security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. To find out more, text the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. This is your chance to secure your IRA or your 401k against the unpredictable nature of our economy. Text PROTECT to the number 989898 now to request your free info kit on gold IRAs. That's PROTECT to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Here's why Money Warshevsky.
iHeart Podcast Update. This week on your free iHeartRadio app. Math and Magic. Stories from the frontiers of marketing with Bob Pittman, Season 6. Join iHeartMedia Chairman and CEO as he analyzes the math and magic of marketing, sitting down with today's most gifted disruptors. Marketing School, digital marketing and online marketing tips. Actionable digital marketing lessons learned through years of being in the trenches. Office Hours with Mike Stibe. Mike sits down with the world's most important chief executives to answer your most pressing questions about leadership, career, and life. Hear these podcasts and more on your free iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
In just a couple of minutes, we will talk with Senator Ron Johnson ahead of President Biden's State of the Union address tonight. People are asking, are you going to do a Biden drinking game? I've got to coach an indoor soccer game tonight. Thankfully, unfortunately, I won't be able to watch this speech live. I am just devastated by that. We will get Senator Johnson's take on that, illegal immigration, much, much more. Also, the rematch between former President Trump and President Biden. You remember the neo-Nazis in Madison? Remember them? November? Yeah, there were like 10, 12. They were marching around during a Badgers game or right after a Badgers game. It was right after the Hamas terror attack on Israel, but like a month later, maybe. Everyone in the world was reporting on that. My God, the Nazis have invaded Madison. Now, we pointed out that about a week after the Hamas terror attack, there was a pro-Palestine demonstration in which one of the speakers was saying, "Glory to the martyrs." Now, it was misinterpreted. People thought it said glory to the murders. No, it was glory to the martyrs, which is almost worse than saying glory to the murders, because the martyrs are the terrorists. We're all aware of what they were talking about. Glory to the martyrs who sacrificed themselves in this great attack against Israel just a couple of days prior. No coverage of that whatsoever. The only coverage was a guy on X, who I believe is a Dan O'Donnell Show listener, and he posted the video and alerted me, or somebody alerted me to it, and we made a big deal of it. No coverage whatsoever. The only coverage I could find, in fact, was a Wisconsin Watch article saying, no, they weren't chanting glory to the murders. It was glory to the martyrs, the terrorists. See, it's totally fine. Everybody remembers the Madison Nazis. Nobody remembers glory to the martyrs. I could similarly find no coverage yesterday of several dozen people on State Street in Madison chanting this. From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Now, those of you who have been following this show for quite some time know what that chant means. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Well, what currently exists from the river to the sea? Israel, meaning a free Palestine would exist on top of the ruins of an Israel that doesn't exist anymore. Not a single Madison news outlet that I could find reported on this. Once again, we had loyal listener Benjamin, who was the one who posted the video on X, alerted me to this. Nobody seems to care. From the river to the sea is blatantly anti-Semitic. It is an open call for the destruction of Israel, and the media doesn't seem too concerned about it. Well, if there's 5 Nazis marching around screaming, "Israel is not our friend," that got national headlines. From the river to the sea, just sort of something that's said. No biggie, nothing to be concerned about, not at all. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, Senator Ron Johnson joins us to preview President Biden's State of the Union address. This one should be fun. Stay tuned. Dan O'Donnell Show coming back.
Hello. Hey, can I have your attention for just a moment? If you're in Racine County, I'm talking to you. You know, we have elections in August and November. That's when we can decide to vote to keep lawmakers on the job or throw them out and try someone new. This recall business with Robin Vos, it's just plain dumb. It's a giant waste of more than $400,000 in taxpayer money. And we just have to turn around and have the regular elections in November anyway. Whatever you think of Robin Vos, just say no to the stupid recall. Don't sign a petition because you're sick of politics as usual. The stupid recall won't accomplish anything other than wasting taxpayer dollars. It's bad enough when politicians do that to us. We shouldn't do it to ourselves. Okay? All right, I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Paid for by Wisconsinites for Liberty Fund. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. You hear me talking often about Mander's customer service. Well, here's one of their customers, Haley, who writes, I had a small chip in my windshield. I called and came in right away to see if it could be fixed. Mander had a glass technician in the building that day, and within 20 minutes of arriving, my chip was filled. Very friendly staff and great customer service. My husband and I have used Mander for a few needs with our vehicles, and we will continue to go to them. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Haley. Your loyalty is a reflection of Mander's extreme dedication to customer service. They'll go the extra mile as a matter of policy, and that is why I tell so many people to go to Mander. Now with 6 locations to serve you, Mander truly is your best decision after a collision or for windshield repair.
Bull riding, the perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Unleash the Beasts Milwaukee PBR, presented by Cooper Tires at 5 Serve Forum, March 9th and 10th. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Voss's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Voss Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. Recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
It's Blaze Farm and Fleet's Rewards Members Spring Early Bird Event. Now through March 20th, we're showing extra appreciation to our rewards members with exclusive members-only deals. Like buy 3 tires, get 1 free. Rewards members get an extra $25 instant savings and up to a $100 consumer rebate when you buy 4 Cooper tires. 20% off Milwaukee tape measures. And new Blaine's brand all-season wiper fluid, $2.49 a gallon. Shop unbeatable rewards member deals and more for just a limited time in-store or online at farmandfleet.com.
Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." Hello, this is Archbishop Listecki. Jesus boldly proclaims that his life is the temple that will be raised up, and nothing can destroy the sacrifice of his life on the cross. It is God's love freely given through his Son for our redemption. He offers his loving relationship in the Eucharist at Mass. It's Lent. Join us at Mass.
Federal authorities are spying on conservatives. They were just exposed for pressuring banks to look for transactions with keywords like MAGA, Trump, and Bible. This is not the America I know. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I am deeply concerned about the tyranny I see in Washington. And this is why I'm thankful for physical gold IRAs, because they offer tangible financial security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. To find out more, text the word SECURE to 989898. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. This is your chance to secure your IRA or 401k against the unpredictable nature of our economy. Text SECURE to the number 989898 now to request your free info kit on gold IRAs. That's SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply. Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Love podcasts? Pull out your phone right now. Open the free iHeartRadio app and check out these podcasts. History on Trial.
Only 30 minutes to put her body in the well.
Dateline NBC.
The first big clue in the mystery.
Mission Implausible.
The means to keep down what was then called the Third World.
Listen today on the iHeartRadio app. More than just the best radio, it's your favorite podcasts too. And best of all, it's absolutely free. iHeartRadio.
Coming up in just a bit, we name the unhinged liberal of the day. What could get a leftist to support Russia's invasion of Ukraine? The answer might or might not surprise you. That's coming up in the unhinged liberal of the day. Right now, we are pleased and honored to be joined by Wisconsin's senior senator, Ron Johnson, on the phone. Sir, good morning to you. Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Morning, Dan. Hope you're doing well.
I am indeed. So are you going to the State of the Union address tonight?
Oh, I'll have to watch it. Yeah, it's going to be painful, but he'll try and put as much lipstick on that pig as possible. I don't think he's going to be able to. I think the disaster that is the Biden administration and Democrat governance is pretty clear for most Americans that have their eyes open to see.
What are you going to be most watching for? Is it going to be his focus on, which is the new thing is now shrinkflation, and he has enlisted the help of Cookie Monster, proving that the adults are truly back in charge. It is weird. Sesame Street's Cookie Monster was tweeting about the other day, me cookies being much smaller. And the Biden administration, the official President Biden X account, immediately seized on this and said, well, Cookie Monster, this is a bit. Now, the Sesame Workshop gets millions of dollars in federal grants. I'm thinking C is for collusion here. So are you focused on the way he tries to put lipstick on the inflation shrinkflation pig? Is it illegal immigration? I'm taking a wild guess. The words Lakin and Riley will not be mentioned at all during this speech. What is it that you're most looking forward to watching?
The end of the speech, but you're not going to find Miss Riley's parents in the audience, are you? Listen, and I've said this before. If you were asked to devise a strategy to destroy this country, you'd be really hard pressed to come up with a better game plan than what Biden has initiated. And by the way, and his Democrat allies in Congress. This isn't just about Biden. It's not just about his cognitive decline. This is about the policies and ideology of the radical left, which is the Democrat Party. They all want an open border. They caused this. President Biden has the authority to close the border. Now, Republicans would be happy to strengthen that authority. We just weren't interested in a immigration bill that codified a lot of, thousands of illegal immigrants a day and weakened the presidential authority. We weren't interested in that. It was just a travesty that McConnell negotiated that and gave them that political cover. The fact that $1 you held at the start of the Biden administration is only worth 85 cents. That's not going away. Yeah, inflation rate is down, but that damage has been done. You did a great job of laying out the, then and now. Yeah. The fact that mortgage rates, the interest rates had doubled. They're down a little bit. The fact that mortgage payments are basically doubled. That home ownership is out of the reach of so many Americans. I mean, this Democrat governance is a disaster. And then you take a look at our cities, the dystopia that our cities have turned into under Democrat DAs that refuse to prosecute crime, and then again doesn't even contemplate what is happening with the more than 6 million people that they've let in, military-age men, gang members, human drug sex traffickers. I mean, you just go on and on and on. That is a disaster that, unfortunately, in most of the mainstream media, they just look by it. They don't cover this. They're not uncovering these stories. It's like a new tragedy every day of a crime being committed by one of these illegal immigrants. And yeah, you cover it on talk radio and some conservative news outlets, but the mainstream media, by and large, just whistling by the graveyard.
Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson joining me on the Dan O'Donnell Show. President Biden's State of the Union, of course, tonight. I do want to ask you, since you brought up Senator McConnell, he announced that he is stepping down from leadership following November's election. You have obviously been probably one of the most vocal critics of McConnell's leadership in the Senate. Your reaction to that, and obviously I don't want you to, nominate a leader. I would be supportive of a Senator Johnson run for the Senate leadership because I think you are exactly what the Senate needs. I believe Rick Scott is probably going to be one of the leading contenders to replace him. But what sort of characteristic are you looking for in McConnell's replacement? Does it come down to simply stones?
Yeah, first of all, what McConnell did on the whole border security negotiation, that was just the last straw. I mean, that's such a breach. Nobody in the conference that I knew was looking for an immigration bill. We wanted some enforcement mechanism to force Biden to use the authority he had to secure the borders. That was the last straw. I appreciate the fact that he has announced it, so now we can go through a process. And what I am trying to lead, what I'm trying to push, is a process. The Republican conference has been literally rudderless. Or it's had one rudder, it's McConnell, and we don't even know where he's going. Okay, he just tells us when it's too late to change directions. So we need a process of determining what is this conference all about. Are there principles we, by and large, agree on?
Yeah.
Are there principles that we will fight for? And so I've been pushing, we need to develop a mission statement. In my mind, it should be pretty simple. Republicans obviously need to defend freedom, free markets, the Constitution, but we need, in particular at this point in time, we need an effective counter to the radical left, destructive policies and ideologies. I mean, the things that literally are destroying this country. We don't provide an effective counter to what the left is doing. We get caught up in the tactics. Demand we got to have an amendment vote.
Right.
An amendment vote is going to fail. No, we need to address the significant issues, and we were doing that with the border until McConnell blew it and gave Democrats political cover for that's all. Democrats weren't serious about closing the border; they just wanted political cover, and McConnell gave it to them. So that has to end. We can't have a leader that just goes his own direction, ignores what the conference is asking, and does it his way. We need a leader that is responsive and accountable to the conference. We're the board of directors. He might be the chairman of the board, but that chairman is still accountable to the board of directors. So I've been pushing for a different form of governance for the conference ever since I got here. Here's a real opportunity. So I think going through this process, I hope leaders or the leader will emerge. Somebody who is, crucial, key in developing what that mission statement is, what those principles are, what our goals are. How is he going to run a more collaborative conference where people know what their roles are in accomplishing the goals, achieving the mission statement? Again, this is what we do in the private sector. It's just foreign to this dysfunctional place. I'm trying to push a more private sector, more business-like approach, governing approach on the conference, and wish me luck.
Yeah. Would you consider throwing your hat in the ring for Senate leadership or some leadership position?
Well, I'll be frank with you, Dan. I'm kind of the guy. I'm kind of the kid in the conference that keeps pointing out that the emperor has no clothes. And that kid's not real popular. People don't like, the reality sometimes being, their nose rubbed in it. So I'm not sure whether I would be a consensus pick for the conference. Again, I'm trying to lead in terms of a process for the leaders to emerge. I wouldn't rule it out, but I wouldn't be holding my breath. I would be happy to get a majority in the Senate and be chairman of the permanent subcommittee investigations. There's so much the Democrats are completely ignoring. Not only the border, but our miserably failed response to COVID.
Yep.
COVID, vaccine injuries. There's just a host of things. The corruption within the FBI, within the Department of Justice, within our intelligence agencies. There's so much. Democrats, all they want to investigate is the private sector. I think the permanent subcommittee investigation should be focused on investigating government. 2 million people in the federal government, a $6.4 trillion a year entity. You know how many staff members I have on the permanent subcommittee on investigation, the premier oversight committee of the Senate?
No.
5. 5. Okay? And that's how unserious Congress is about doing oversight on the crappy spending that they vote on all the time.
Man, that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Yeah, that actually is kind of stunning. We have to get to a break, Senator Johnson. I'm sure I could be talking to you about rooting out corruption in government for the next, 7 or 8 hours or so. Enjoy the speech. I hope that you enjoy your favorite part, the end of it, and we will talk soon, okay?
Have a great day.
You too, sir. He is Senator Ron Johnson. I am Dan O'Donnell, unhinged liberal of the day. Coming up next.
Classical conservatism.
Contemporary style.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
If you own or manage a business and you need to fill a job, Thinkability Wisconsin encourages you to consider hiring people with disabilities. Listen to employers who've done just that.
We're helping someone find a purpose in the work world.
Really improved our overall culture by giving these individuals the opportunity to showcase what they can do.
Once you get into it, they can be the best employees you've ever had.
Start with yes, and let Thinkability Wisconsin help you hire people with disabilities. It's a powerful, positive thing to do. Find out more at thinkabilitywi.org.
Struggling to get rid of those unwanted pounds? Stress, aging, and so many factors that are near impossible to control lead to diet and exercise resistant fat. Fat that's not your fault, but is for sure a problem. Well, until now. The doctors and experienced staff at A Younger You Medical Spa can help you get rid of stubborn, unwanted fat. With Cool Sculpting, they have performed over 5,000 treatments to help clients feel fit and confident. This fat freezing procedure uses cooling to remove fat from areas such as thighs, stomach, love handles, arms, and underneath the chin. Cool Sculpting is a non-surgical way to reduce fat and get the body you've always dreamed of. An FDA-cleared and clinically proven procedure that freezes unwanted fat cells for good with little to no downtime. And treatments are just under an hour. And with their amazing special of 50% off 8+ treatments, it's never been more affordable to transform your body for good. Book your free consultation now. A Younger You Medical Spa in Brookfield and Burlington, or at ayounger.com.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com, recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Hi, I'm Jeff Kelm. Join Dan Small and me for Outdoors Radio Saturday mornings at 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Brought to you by Hupy and Abraham, Wisconsin's largest personal injury law firm. 800-800-5678 or HUPY.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk. It is time now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Does that make me crazy?
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is John Kerry. I never thought I could see, I would live to see the day where liberals would defend and justify Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Nothing turned them into war hawks quite like the invasion of Ukraine. John Kerry proved me wrong. Kerry said, look, if Russia would just commit to reducing greenhouse emissions, we would all think differently about its actions in Ukraine.
Unfortunately, because of the actions that Russia took in an unprovoked, illegal war against another nation, we have not been engaged in discussions with Russia, sadly. I say sadly because it's a loss for the world not to be able to have Russia acting constructively on this issue. But we need every country, including Russia. Russia is one of the largest emitters in the world. If Russia wanted to show good faith, they could go out and announce what their reductions are going to be and make a greater effort to reduce emissions now. And maybe that would open up the door for people to feel better about what Russia is choosing to do at this point in time.
So you see, if they used electric tanks and solar-powered machine guns, we'd all feel better about them invading a sovereign nation in an illegal war. Did that man just say what I thought he said? I think he did, and that is why John Forbes Kerry is your unhinged liberal of the day. Coming up after the top of the hour news, injustice in a Dane County courtroom. A trial that should never, ever, ever have happened is going to begin a week from Monday. We will tell you about it. This is a long-running saga in Dane County. And when you hear the details, you might have before. There are a lot of people who have been following this for years, myself included. They will make your blood boil. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen.
Police in Waukesha are looking to see if a dump truck ran a red light before crashing into a school bus full of kids yesterday morning. Officers say 8 kids on the bus were hurt, one of them taken to the hospital. Investigators say it looks like the truck ran the red light at Moreland and Wolf Road. The kids on the bus say the truck didn't stop until the crash. Waukesha police say their major crash task force is now looking into the matter. Vice President Kamala Harris came to Madison yesterday. Harris spoke to a crowd at the to-be-built Metro Transit Satellite Hub about opportunities for union apprenticeships, saying unions help make the middle class stronger.
The president has issued an executive order, an EO, that will direct federal agencies to explore what federal jobs we have that can be filled by the highly skilled folks who have been trained in apprenticeship programs.
It's the 6th time the vice president or someone from the Biden White House has come to Wisconsin since the beginning of the year. In his State of the Union address tonight, President Biden is expected to hammer on several themes, including improving the economy, reproductive rights, and preserving democracy. Biden will also push his plans to change the tax system by repeating his call to increase taxes on corporations and billionaires. WISN will offer complete coverage of the 2024 State of the Union address tonight, starting at 7. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard after losing to the Golden State Warriors last night, the Bucks face the Los Angeles Lakers tomorrow night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Built-Right Furniture. Built-Right's Customer Appreciation Mattress Sale is on now. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, Comfort Sleep, and more. Built-Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free self-service store. Built-Right makes it easy, and with their legitimate sale prices, you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep. Built-Right does the research for you, and their team will take the time to help fit you. Built-Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, two-sided, and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, Built-Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, closed to be with family. Tell them Dan O'Donnell sent you to Built-Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Mostly cloudy today, high near 50 inland, 44 lakeside. Light southeast breeze, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Becoming overcast tonight with rain rolling in by Friday. Should see a high of around 44 Friday with up to 3/4 of an inch worth of rain. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop Grand Appliance for an unbeatable appliance selection at the lowest prices guaranteed. Need it fast? Grand can even deliver and install faster than those other guys. Visit grandappliance.com or your local showroom today. That's Grand Appliance, appliance expert since 1930.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
Dan O'Donnell here for CertaPro Painters, which knows how important your home is to you. That's why they're focused on helping to bring a fresh color to your home. You can trust CertaPro Painters to Get the job done right, as I did with my home. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in the state. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, pro.com. When choosing painting professionals, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
When you've made the choice to buy the industry's best, Marvin replacement windows, find them at Wisconsin's largest Marvin window dealer. Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos, a better, easier way to get term life insurance, all online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos, up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Love podcasts? Pull out your phone right now. Open the free iHeartRadio app and check out these podcasts. History on Trial.
Only 30 minutes to put her body in the well.
Dateline NBC.
The first big clue in the mystery.
Mission Implausible.
The means to keep down what was then called the Third World.
Listen today on the iHeartRadio app. More than just the best radio, it's your favorite podcasts too. And best of all, it's absolutely free. iHeartRadio.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Coverage of President Biden's State of the Union address, plus the Republican response, starts tonight at 7 on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Watching on the Dano cam might have noticed I sort of wheeled myself out of frame. I just realized my computer wasn't plugged in and was about to die. Yeah, that's the sort of stuff. When you watch the show streaming live on X at Dan O'Donnell Show there, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, as well as on our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, you see all sorts of craziness that you obviously can't if you're just listening to us via the iHeartRadio app. We do, however, strongly encourage. We want you. We hope that you will, and we thank you for subscribing to, following. Did we determine, is it a follow? You follow the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio? I'm still not sure about this. Is it subscribe? Let's see. I don't know. I'm going to go. Nope. You follow the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast. You know what's hilarious? You know who was not following the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast? Dan O'Donnell, until just now. I don't know. I'm not that egotistical. I need to. I know what I say. In fact, folks, there is one follower of the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast now who can tell you exactly what is going to be on the Dan O'Donnell Show before it airs. If you would like to join us, we always want your texts. We always want your phone calls. The AdventNews.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. You can always email me directly, dod@iHeartMedia.com. Do want to make a quick announcement. We are unfortunately going to put a pause on our regular Thursday segment, Forgotten History. and this is one of the bigger reasons, it is a lot of work writing, putting together episodes, that sort of thing. And it takes a lot of time. And when I'm doing 2 radio shows a day, it's just not possible because I'm researching so much for other topics. But the biggest reason is we have an issue and you're going to hear this probably soon, with playing music on podcasts. It's an issue with rights for record companies and song publishers and rights holders and that sort of stuff with the music that we use. Not just on this show. This is the entire company, and I suspect pretty much every other company that has podcasts. Music publishers allow you to license music to play on the radio. It's what we do on the radio. We have hundreds and hundreds and thousands even of music radio stations. You have a license for that, and we have the same license being on talk radio stations as the music stations do. We can use things thematically. I believe the rule is you can use about 30 seconds of a track, which is why we sort of loop it, and there are some restrictions on that. But on the internet, it's a totally different story. And music publishers, they have not yet made a concrete offer for iHeartMedia, our giant corporate overlords, which run all of these radio stations, for use in podcasting. Okay, so when we go to podcast a show, if you listen to the Dan O'Donnell Show later on, for example, today you're going to notice that the unhinged liberal of the day is just not going to be in the podcast because we have music. You're going to notice that you're not going to hear any of the bumper music that we play. And this is because we can't risk getting sued by a music publisher. And apparently the music publishers within the last month or so, Dave, is that 2 months, something like that, they have told us it's very recent. So we've had a corporate policy where, okay, for now, we're just not going to have any music in the podcast. And because music, I think, is an integral part of forgotten history, it helps tell the story. It helps transport you, I hope, into the time period that we're talking about. We use sound bites. We use musical selections. We have a little theme song that we play. And it just, until we get some more clarification or until we get this rights issue figured out, it just, I think, because, I mean, we could still theoretically run Forgotten History on the air, but I sort of envision this as a podcast, as something that you can listen, you can, hey, you know, I heard this awesome thing on the Dan O'Donnell Show when the kids get home from school. Hey, listen to this. Did you ever know that, you know, whatever story? By the way, the one we had up in the can, I thought was a really good one. It's the man who invented the cowboy. Yeah. Did you know? And he also, as a result of his work, we now have the phrase, the real McCoy. The inventor, truly the inventor of the cattle drive in the American frontier. One man is, well, brothers technically, but it was one guy who was the head of the company who basically started the American frontier. This, you know, the cowboys and the move west and the way that cattle were transported. He invented the cattle drive. So, unfortunately, we are going to have to take a pause. Really nothing I can do, unfortunately. I just kind of made an executive decision. I don't want to put in all of that work. We will figure out a way to bring back Forgotten History. Trust me, it is a passion of mine. I love doing it. I love putting these stories together. But until then, we've just got it. So tomorrow, when we do How Bizarre, how it worked out yesterday because we just didn't have time to squeeze in Guess What's Racist. You know, we could do Guess What's Racist without the music, I suppose. Dave, what do you think? Does it have the same oomph? Yeah, I know the radio. Well, no, we're still going to do it. We're still going to do Guess What's Racist and all that. It's just we won't be able to put it on the podcast. That's literally the only thing. Yeah, well, that's true. People who are listening now probably aren't going to go back and listen to the podcast, though you should. because there is deeper subtext to all the things I say, that it's sort of like a Taylor Swift song, the hidden meanings. You can find Easter eggs, like this is, a video game. No, there's nothing deeper to anything I say. It's all pretty stupid. However, I do occasionally discuss stories that have deep, deep meaning. This is one of them. On Monday, March 18th, a Division of Criminal Investigation member with the Wisconsin Department of Justice by the name of Mark E. Wagner will stand trial. He's charged with second-degree recklessly endangering safety, a Class G felony, through the use of a dangerous weapon. He will stand trial in Dane County Circuit Court. The trial is scheduled for 9 days plus 1 day of jury selection a week from Monday. The details of his case are tragic. This is one of the greatest miscarriages of justice I think I've ever seen. Wagner is, by all accounts, a wonderful man. He served 23 years as a narcotics detective with the Milwaukee Police Department. 2017, after his retirement, he joins DCI. So dedicated to service and helping others is he that he donated a kidney years ago to his longtime partner on the Milwaukee Police Department. February 3rd, 2022, he and a team of about 20 law enforcement officers are serving a warrant from multiple agencies in Madison on a guy by the name of Quadron Wilson. Wilson is a career criminal. 24 criminal convictions, 6 felonies on his record. And 3 of those felonies are for fleeing or eluding arrest. 3 misdemeanors for resisting arrest. Nothing about this guy's background suggested that he was ever going to go quietly. Wilson was wanted on a warrant of suspicion of supplying the fentanyl that killed a buyer during an overdose. Officers knew because of his record, they're trying to take him in. He's going to run. He's going to try to flee. Morning of February 3rd, they get a tip that Wilson is going to be in a park. They assemble a team. They moved in. Now, they use their SUVs, and a lot of this is on video, and it's really remarkable what they do. They pin his vehicle from the front and behind to bring it to a stop, right? They don't, turn on the lights and sirens, giving him a chance to run. One vehicle goes in front of him, one vehicle goes behind him, and they basically pin him. There is nowhere for him to go. Mark Wagner has his sidearm drawn as he approaches the vehicle. He's got a shield in his hand because he knows that this is likely to be a violent stop. Another officer follows, pointing a rifle at Wilson, who, of course, is behind the wheel. They order him to show his hands. Wilson refuses. He starts revving the engine as if he's going to try to push the vehicle in front, or he's going to try to go back and forth to try to wriggle his vehicle free. The wheels are spinning so fast that smoke starts to billow up. He's flooring it, desperately trying to get away. As he's revving his engine, according to testimony, he's fidgeting with something in his right hand. He's not showing his hands. He's clearly showing that he's going to try to escape. Rather obviously, what's the fear? He's fidgeting with a gun. Now, the windows of this vehicle are very darkly tinted, nearly impossible for Wagner to see inside. Another officer at this point uses a crowbar to smash the rear driver's side window to let in some more light to see exactly what Wilson is doing inside the car. Suddenly, and this is according to depositions and according to the criminal complaint, Wilson reaches down with his left hand, so his left hand is out of view, and then jerks both of his hands up. At this point, Wagner heard a loud sound, a loud clap, pop, something. He thought it was a gunshot, and he fell backward, thinking he had been shot, either in the body armor he was wearing or the shield or something. He thought, oh my gosh, this guy just shot me. Almost simultaneously, he fires his gun. Because Wilson was sort of turned around, it hits him in the back. The second officer, who also thought Mark had been shot, fired into the car but missed. Wilson was hospitalized a couple of times because of his injuries. He's now serving, I believe he's still in prison. He might have been out. I'd have to check. He was sentenced to 3 years. He was doing 3 years inside for fentanyl delivery and cocaine possession. I actually forgot to check on his status in preparation for this segment. There wasn't a firearm that was recovered from the car. No one is quite sure what Mark heard or what Mark thought he heard that caused him to fall backwards and fire his weapon. It took 7 months from February to September of 2022 for the Dane County District Attorney, Ishmael Auzon, to file criminal charges. Auzon's own criminal complaint reveals that the shooting was justified. A Division of Criminal Investigation agent, this is according to policy, settled policy, agent, quote, may use deadly force only when the agent reasonably believes they are facing an imminent threat of death or great bodily harm to themselves or others. Let's review the facts here. Wilson is a dangerous criminal. He's committed multiple violent crimes. He's resisted arrest violently. He's tried to flee. He's tried to elude. He's squealing his tires, desperately trying to get away from officers, indicating he's going to do anything to get away because his car is pinned. He's squealing the tires, and come hell or high water, if he can get away, he's going to get away. He refuses to show his hands in a darkly tinted vehicle and then suddenly jerks them in a way that could cause a reasonable, and probably would cause any reasonable officer to believe he had a gun or at least meant the officer some sort of harm. Now, the Supreme Court actually ruled on whether or not an officer's behavior is reasonable in a case called Graham v. Connor, 1989. The holding there, the ruling, was that an officer's use of force, quote, must be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene rather than with the 20/20 vision of hindsight. Isn't that exactly what Auzon was trying to do? He waits 7, almost 8 months to bring the case to charges, and we're now, what, 2 years? 2 years, almost exactly. Afterwards, this case is going to trial, and we're judging with the benefit of hindsight, right? Well, he didn't have a gun in the car. No, you can't judge it from, okay, what did you find out afterwards? You have to put yourself in the position of a reasonable officer under the circumstances. This guy is considered so violent. He is considered such a dangerous flight risk. It's not just Mark Wagner and his partner. There is a team of 20 DCI agents who are bringing this guy in. They don't just pull him over expecting him to stop and go quietly. Because of his record, they know he's going to try to run. He's going to take off. So they have to box him in. He doesn't show his hands. He makes a move, and a reasonable officer, I think, could interpret that move as being for a firearm. Second officer behind him, Wagner, also fires his gun. This bolsters the argument that Wagner's actions were totally justified. They're reasonable, right? You hear something that sounds like a gunshot as a guy is jerking his hand up. What are you supposed to think? Not one, but two officers thought the one officer was shot. Ozon's own criminal complaint makes that clear. Yet Mark Wagner might go to prison. In fact, he's facing a Dane County jury and a Dane County judge that probably aren't all that sympathetic to law enforcement officers. Clearly, he's facing a district attorney who isn't. This case should have never been charged. It should never be this close to a trial. It should have been dismissed a long time ago. This is an officer who acted perfectly reasonably under the circumstances. And based on the Graham v. Connor standard, looking at this through the perspective of a reasonable officer at the time, not with the benefit of hindsight, Mark Wagner is, I fear, about to be railroaded. His friends started a standwithwags.com website where you can get all sorts of updates to this case. You can donate to the Legal Defense Fund. You can buy merchandise, and you can support Mark Wagner. I don't think I have seen in recent memory a case that's going to trial against a law enforcement officer that is this flimsy, that is this directly contradictory to established Supreme Court precedent as well as Department of Justice protocol. It seems, and has seemed for 2 years now, that this was completely politically motivated, that this is a desire to get those cops, to show some accountability for those cops. We want justice for Quadron Wilson, a career criminal and fentanyl dealer. Is Mark Wagner going to have to be the sacrificial lamb in this illusory pursuit of systemic social justice? Or is a judge going to do the right thing and just toss this thing out? I think that's highly unlikely, given that the case is unfortunately being tried in Dane County. But hopefully the jurors understand that this was a completely justified shooting in a completely justified circumstance.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Voss's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Voss Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
I'm Dan Voss, owner of Cut and Go Tree Services. Recent super heavy snowfall followed up by a deep freeze damaged more trees than you can shake a stick at. If as the snow melts you are facing days, even weeks of cleanup, and your yard refuse pickup isn't for months, Cut and Go will send a professional crew to clean up and remove all storm damaged limbs, branches, and even trees too severely damaged to save. Damaged trees that can be saved need attention sooner than later. Leaving damaged trees and debris until spring can cause pest infestation. Cleaning up debris before spring thaw gives your plants, gardens, and lawn the best chance of healthy start to a new growing season, and damaged trees the best chance of recovery. Simply call Cut and Go. We'll show up with a chip truck, chipper, and loader, and in no time your property will be looking beautiful and your trees will be prepared for maximum recovery this year. A Tons of Trees movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. or 262-443-4995.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
Here's why money Warshevsky.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
President Biden delivers his State of the Union address tonight already. I guess, is the Democratic Legislative Committee, are they running ads on this show touting Biden's accomplishments? Or was it on the stream? I bet you it was on the stream. I'm sure someone will be able to tell me. I've gotten two different texts that the DLCC is running ads on this show. Not on the air? All right. The only ad we're running now is apparently for the Robin Vos recall. Oh, that was Dave. Dave says, are we sure the Democrat ad isn't for the Robin Vos recall? Oh, I actually didn't think that, but that is a fantastic joke, Dave. Yes. Oh, we ticked them all off. Look, okay. They are all upset because they say I am lying about the recall. I have a very, very well-placed source who says law enforcement agents confronted people who are not legally allowed to be handing out recall petitions in Racine County. They were apparently Honduran or Mexican citizens. The city of Burlington police chief said, no, it wasn't us. We didn't confront them. And my sources, he says, no, law enforcement agents did. The Vos recall people are just going, Dan's lying. I don't know. My source is standing by the story. I don't know what to tell you. Police chief of city of Burlington says, nope, didn't happen. What did happen is one woman was actually arrested for circulating petitions for trespassing. She was told, okay, leave, can't be here. She comes back and goes. We do know there is one circulator who is proudly identifying himself as a Ukrainian, handing out recall circulation papers. We also know that at Union Grove High School, there were recall petition circulators going up to students and collecting signatures without ever verifying whether or not they were 18 years old. Now, all of this, of course, would be vetted, and you have a set number of signatures. I believe the number is about 7,000 to trigger a recall of Vos. But we do have photo and video of a lot of this stuff going up at Common Sense Central. We've got this up right now. The Recall Vos people have not responded to a request for comment yet. This all, folks, I'm just going to be totally honest with you. This is all quite stupid. Has nothing to do with Vos per se. the districts have changed. Let's say they're totally successful. Let's say Robin Vos is recalled from office. He's out. A new representative for the 63rd Assembly District is in. Do you know what happens just 2 months later in the August primary? There's another election, and it's for a completely different district because of redistricting. When this recall effort was launched, the 63rd was different than it is now. It is considered a new district after the district lines changed following the 2020 census. I'm not going to get into all of this battle. Those of you who watch the show, listen to the show consistently, know that we've been talking about this forever. The district lines have changed, okay? Vos can be defeated and then simply just run again in the new district. There wouldn't be an incumbent in that district. District lines are totally different. So it seems like a waste of time. It seems very much like a waste of time. I don't know. And people are asking me who Regular Joe Gigante is. He is a talk show host in Green Bay, Fox Valley. So not in the district. I still have some questions. Dave, are we sure the FCC ethics of this, of being part of a recall campaign as he is and going on the air every day to, I don't know. That's why I'm always that's why I don't endorse, frankly. I'm not going to ever be used in a political commercial. Well, actually, I take that back. I have been used in political commercial. Whenever I say something critical of a Republican congressman or who was it? I said something critical. It made it into a TV ad. It might have been Tim Michaels. It was somebody. It was even Dan O'Donnell says this. But no, I steer away from that. Regular Joe Gigante is now on the Dan O'Donnell show more than Dan O'Donnell, which is, if you listen on the air, every single commercial is for the recall Vos thing. You know, you can tell this is backed by Democrats, right? Do you know how you can tell? Because they seem to have nearly unlimited money. And the recall organizers have been very open about the fact that they're welcoming Democrat support. Now, why do you suppose Democrats want to get rid of Robin Vos? Probably for the same reason Democrats all signed on to the effort to get rid of Kevin McCarthy, because they don't want Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker of the House, just as they don't want Robin Vos as the Speaker of the State Assembly. Politics, it seems, truly do make some strange bedfellows. The petition circulators have until Monday to get the requisite number of signatures. I have absolutely no idea how successful they are, how many of these signatures are going to be thrown out. I frankly think this is... Look, Vos is allowed to raise unlimited amounts of money right now. You realize this, right? Do you remember the recall effort against Tony Evers? And the guy behind that, nobody has heard of him since. I'm not entirely convinced this wasn't an early prototype artificial intelligence that the Democrats were employing. I saw a story today, just as a brief aside. A top futurist and scientist says AI will be smarter than humanity by 2027. Based on some of the stuff I see in politics, you could have a TI-82 calculator that's smarter than humanity right now. Vos is able to raise unlimited amounts of money. Even if he is recalled and removed from office, he just comes back in 2 months anyway. And also, who replaces him as Assembly Speaker? I mean, Vos and Fitz, right, they got stuff done. Nobody could deny during the Walker administration, right? Fitz leaves to run for Congress. Anyone particularly happy with Devin LeMahieu? Exactly. LeMahieu and Voss have sort of butted heads on pretty much everything, and there has been a whole lot of grumbling from the Senate Republican caucus about the leadership there. What happens when Voss is recalled? What happens when Voss leaves Assembly leadership? Because, frankly, I have seen dissatisfaction with every single Republican leader. It does not matter. Go back 25, 30 years. There are people who don't like Newt Gingrich. Gingrich was arguably the most consequential Republican House Speaker in history. Newt. Let's see. Hastert, Boehner, Ryan, McCarthy, now Mike Johnson. And on it goes. What? It is a thankless job. And I kind of like the idea that Republicans are sort of ungovernable. I sort of like the idea of people being ungovernable. But, folks, we face a very well-funded, very well-organized enemy, political enemy here. If we're so worried about these little territorial pissing matches, we're missing the big picture. Wisconsin is the state. We all want President Trump to be elected, right? One of the big gripes. Well, Voss isn't supportive enough of Donald Trump. Voss, he hasn't done enough. He hasn't done enough to support Trump. The worst thing you can do is to divert your energy or your resources away from defeating Joe Biden and helping Trump in the state that just might be, once again, for the third consecutive election cycle, the most important in the entire country. We're all on the same team, folks. We all want the same stuff. It's when we get so fragile. Can I say, I'm going to say something. Am I allowed to say this on the radio? I can say butthurt on the radio? All right, I'm saying butthurt. When we get so butthurt that Donald Trump, Donald Trump is too mean. Robin Voss didn't support Trump enough. You had Trump, folks, you have Trump's campaign. Do you know the only race Trump spent money on in Wisconsin in 2022 was to defeat Robin Voss? How damn self-defeating was that? Whole lot of problems in this state. Wouldn't be big problems if we had a different governor, don't you think? And then what's been the issue for the last two statewide election cycles? We get in these massive pissing contests over which faction of the you're a rhino. You're a Trumpist. And we get blown out in statewide elections. The pattern repeats itself over and over and over again. So what? Now, are we going to get Hovde? I think has had a pretty darned impressive campaign rollout thus far. And I'll tell you, I was deeply impressed with him. Have nothing to do with politics. He's on the show yesterday. He's just talking about life, just talking about overcoming MS, his daily battle with MS and how that impacted his character. Is he going to say something that's going to make him not sufficiently MAGA enough? And then there's going to be some boomer who comes out of the woodwork in June and half of the party gets behind him? I don't know how many different ways we can defeat ourselves. I truly don't. So we're taking Democrat money to recall the Republican Assembly Speaker. Okay. Don't be surprised or butthurt when I call you people morons. We'll be right back.
Whether you want to showcase your entry, seal a draft, let light in, or provide ventilation, storm doors can add real value to your home. And if you're in need of a new storm door, buying from the nation's largest independent retailer of Pella and Larson storm doors isn't a bad idea. This is David Wilhelm, and names like Pella and Larson are ahead of the class when it comes to storm door choices. And having the area's largest assortment of residential Pella and Larson storm doors on display makes a trip to 51st and Lisbon well worth your while. And it's not just the variety of styles that will impress you, it's also the unbelievable range of color choices that you have here. Now, for those of you who own older homes, you won't find a better selection of wooden storm doors to match period styles, including round tops, than you'll find here at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. So it shouldn't be hard to see that when it comes to Pella and Larson storm doors, your clear choice for more is Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex, also with me. And this week, it feels especially bullish in the markets, Dave.
Yeah, it really does. There's a bullish sentiment that is certainly sweeping. And it really is something that we've seen throughout the beginning of this year as well, partly because it's a presidential election year. And this is normal. If you go back for the last 12 or 13 elections, you see that we generally have a positive year in a presidential election year. And so that's what we're seeing here, number one. And number two, of course, that the Federal Reserve is hinting that sometime this year they're going to turn around and start cutting rates. You know, we all know that for 18 months they were raising rates, they then paused, and they're going to turn around and start cutting rates. So a combination of those two things are really playing into this sentiment, Dan. The other thing that you're going to see, of course, is that it begins to build on itself. So you get the old FOMO, the fear of missing out, starting to come into play, and that's what we're starting to have happen. But folks, you got to be careful and know what you own. And the reason why is because you can't blindly just put money to work. You have to make sure it fits into your risk profile, it fits into your asset allocation, and most importantly, it helps you get to the goals that you're trying to establish, and we can help with those ideas.
Yeah, and that website is annexwealth.com, because in times of uncertainty, and we think that election years are going to be a good year, we think that the bullish sentiment is going to continue, we think there's going to be some FOMO, no one ever really knows. So you need to be positioned for any and every possible outcome. And one thing that we do know about this market and about every market is that any outcome is possible. Get your free wealth metric at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, president and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Hi, regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. Recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Voss.
Westtown Archery has expanded. Hi, this is Fred from Westtown Archery in Brookfield. We've been outfitting bow hunters and target archers since 1964, and our newly remodeled and expanded shop is finally completed. You'll find the same great service now in a bigger and better shop. Visit westtownarchery.com and we'll see you at the shop.
Westtown Archery's Cabin Fever sale is going on now. Save on all new and used bows and accessories, including Matthews, Bowtech, Hoyt, Elite, Bear, PSE, Mission, and more. We also sell and service all the top crossbow brands and accessories, T-Point, Raven, and Mission. Visit westtownarchery.com for details.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
I know, some houses are strange, weird, need significant repairs, perhaps just really tough to sell. I get it. You feel you need to pay 6% to sell it, and maybe you truly do. This is Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. If you have a property that is kind of normal, generally really nice, maybe even just plain stunning, the Redefined Realty 3.99% commission plan will get the job done just fine. Our marketing is amazingly similar to the 6% brokers. We're even in the same local MLS. Visit redefinedrealty.com for details and a free market analysis.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer can give you a cash offer for your home in just 5 minutes, no matter its condition, because selling your home should not be complicated. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com, pick your closing date, and the rest is simple. That's MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
For Gary, award-winning home remodeling.
We go out to the phones on the Dan O'Donnell Show to Hartford, where we find Mark. Mark, how you doing? You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Oh, pretty good, Dan. Dan, I just wanted to point out that this whole thing, whether it's successful or not, this is sending a message to Robin Vos. He's not doing his job. He's the Mitch McConnell of Wisconsin, and we all know it. So if this is successful or not, I hope it sends a message to him. It's time for him to start doing his job, don't you think?
Pretty expensive message, though, isn't it?
Well, something's got to be done. This guy hasn't been doing nothing. Dan.
Let me ask you this, Mark. You're a big Trump guy, right? You support Trump, right?
Oh, you bet.
You bet. Hey, I'm right with you, brother. You were pumped up about Super Tuesday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think Wisconsin is going to be a critical state for Trump to win?
Oh, every state will.
Well, but Wisconsin especially, because we're so close. I mean, he lost by 20,000 votes. He won by 20,000 in 2016. Do you want, from now until the election, every good conservative focused on getting Trump elected? Because you know what that's going to do? If Trump wins Wisconsin, I firmly believe Eric Hovde beats Tammy Baldwin for the U.S. Senate. I really do believe that. I think if Trump wins, it's going to signal a seismic backlash against Democrat policies, especially on immigration, inflation, all of that. And Hovde is going to be the beneficiary. So,
well, Dan, hear me out. Mm-hmm. How the heck are we going to win when Robin Vos was on Up Front? You know, it's on Channel 12. Mm-hmm. Just a few weeks ago, I saw him say it, that anybody else but Trump, he's an anti-Trumper.
Well, but it doesn't matter what Vos says. I mean, if he wanted Nikki Haley or DeSantis, Trump's the nominee. I mean, Vos doesn't really have any power whatsoever to he can say whatever he wants based on the fact that he's facing a recall in his own district. I don't think he's quite as influential amongst rank and file voters. My point, though, is that, okay, Vos doesn't particularly like Trump. That's fine. I hate to break it to you, but based on what we're seeing in some of these, there are like 30% of Republicans who would rather have another candidate than Trump. That's a reality. You know, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. My point is that we want, and what you're saying here is you want every single Republican supporting Trump, every single Republican on board the Trump train, doing everything they can to get Trump elected. Why are we wasting so much time, so many resources, and so much effort that could be put into, if we all get together, especially in Racine County, you better believe that there are tons of people who can be convinced right now. We're saying, look, man, do you want an illegal immigrant killing your college-age daughter while she's out for a jog? Instead, we're saying, hey, Robin Vos doesn't support Trump enough. Let's remove him from office. Don't you think that's a waste of time?
Whole recall business is not just right now. It's Robin Vos's past practices of doing nothing. And you yourself, I've heard you say this, during the elections, he didn't want to do nothing. He didn't remove Dean Knudsen from that Wisconsin election commission. 200,000 names on the voter rolls. Robin Vos did nothing, and that's what people are mad about.
No, I get that. I get that.
It's time for him to go.
Sure, but Mark, Do you think focusing on Robin Vos right now, do you believe 2024's presidential election is the most critical we've faced in a long time?
Country.
You kind of cut out a little bit. I'm going to say, yeah, you do. And unfortunately, I want to keep going, Mark. Unfortunately, we really are up against the clock here. I've got like a minute of showtime left before Clay and Buck. The point is that right now, in this critical election, we're again focused on, because of past grievances, we're again focused on taking out Robin Vos. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Hi, Regular Joe Gigante here, reaching out at a critical moment for our republic. Right now, the very foundation of our democratic process is under threat by Robin Vos and his cronies. They're spreading falsehoods claiming a recall election would cost $450,000 and unfairly divert funds from vital services like EMS. This is a deliberate attempt to mislead and manipulate the public and simply isn't true. But why resort to such tactics? Well, simply put, Robin Vos fears the power of accountability. If they're willing to lie about this, what else are they willing to lie about? Concerns even extend to personal extravagances like Vos's lavish trip to Italy, where he held his most recent wedding. What are they trying to hide? The Vos Mafia is playing dangerous games with our democratic values. It's time to hold Robin Vos and his sycophants accountable by signing the recall petition against Robin Vos. Join the thousands of your neighbors in signing the petition. Visit recallvos.com. Recallvos.com for more information.
Paid for by Recall Vos.
If you're someone who's experiencing spine and musculoskeletal pain or shoulder, hip, and knee pain, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Jay Weber here, talking about the doctors and techs that I trust with my shoulder problems. I've had issues for years with micro tears, not enough to warrant surgery, but painful and annoying nonetheless. I discovered that it wasn't a pain that I just had to live with, and Orthopedic Associates doctors gave me options to help the problem and alleviate the pain that I never knew were available. So if you're like me, know that you just don't have to live with it. And you will be impressed with Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin and their staff. I've never waited more than a few minutes after check-in to see the doctor or tech, and I've never felt forgotten in an exam room. Their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care, from simple strains and tears to sports injuries to complex joint replacements. In fact, Orthopedic Associates specializes in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
You know, our friends at Henry Repeating Arms, they manufacture a line of very high quality rifles, shotguns, and revolvers that you can be very proud to own. Now, they're made in America with parts and materials also from America. Now, they use old world craftsmanship combined with cutting edge technology to deliver reliable and accuracy that you can trust in any situation. Now, they're easy to use and maintain. It makes them an excellent choice for both a novice and experienced shooter. Henry has over 200 models, so you can find the firearm that's right for you. There's also new releases all throughout the year, and every purchase is backed by their lifetime warranty and the company's owner. Anthony Imperato also gives his personal guarantee for 100% satisfaction. Now, make sure you go to their website, henryusa.com, order their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog, free decals, and a list of dealers where you are. You're going to love this company and these firearms like I do.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
Don't miss the Metropolitan Builders Association's free spring tour this weekend, presented by Nuns. See new homes, condos, subdivisions, and available lots all over southeastern Wisconsin from MBA Builders. Visit MBAspringtour.com for locations.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How'd you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join Joe Brown for the Safe Money and Income Radio Show on Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Not a whole lot more time here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Time enough only to say goodbye and thank you so much for listening. But have no fear, we are back tomorrow, jam-packed Friday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. How bizarre, our weekly look back at the strangest stories of the week. Full reaction from President Biden's State of the Union tonight. Have a great day.